Good evening, I'm David Brown and welcome to the Northern Sun Experience. After nearly 3 decades of dormancy, the University of Sioux Falls and Augustana University finally renewed their rivalry in 2012 with the Key to the City game. And for the first 3 years, the Cougars were able to keep the Vikings locked up. But last year, Augie was finally able to steal the Key from USF on its home field. Sioux Falls looking for some payback and hoping to get the Key back as they visited Augustana at Kirkby-Over Stadium on Saturday. And the Cougars would play from ahead the entire game. Luke Papillion with a 3-yard rush, and it's 7-0 USF. Later in the first, Papillion facing a heavy rush, but he gets it away to Kyle Groenweg, and he does the rest, eluding tacklers and gliding into the end zone, 56 yards on the screen, 14-0 Cougars. Second quarter now, Sioux Falls leans on its leading rusher. Max Mickey finds a lane, makes some defenders miss, and gets in from 18 yards out. USF starts the game on a 21-0 run. Augustana would try and mount a comeback. Trey Hyde sidearms it to Charlie Hayes, just back from injury. 7-yard touchdown, PAT no good, however, so it's 21-6. Vikings capitalize on their next possession. Hyde with the fade to the right side for Nate Merriman. Great catch, 3-yard touchdown, 21-13 at halftime. Augie with a chance to possibly tie the game in the third inside the USF red zone, but Hyde's pass is picked off by Cliff Redman, one of his 2 end zone picks on the afternoon. And the Cougars would hold the Vikings off the rest of the way. Papillion to Josh Angulo, great adjustment for the 16-yard strike, 28-13 USF. And the Cougars would finish things off in the fourth. Max Mickey finding some space down the left sideline, and he doesn't look back. 42 yards to the house, 35-13 at that point. And for the third straight year, the road team wins the Key to the City game, as Sioux Falls takes the Key back from Augustana in a 35-20 victory. Another big South Division showdown pit Minnesota State against Winona State. Warriors break out the trick plays early. The reverse flea flicker back to Jack Nelson, who finds Will Clausen, ironically a Mankato High School graduate. 47-yard touchdown, 7-0 Winona State. Later in the first, a more conventional touchdown. Off play action, Nelson finds a wide open Nick Marchiata, 14-zip Warriors. Teams would trade field goals to make it 17-3 when the Mavs' Nick Piericini fakes the run and finds Eric Fuller for the short touchdown. Mavs would tie things at 17 later in the second. The two teams would trade punches until the very end, when Winona State would get the last laugh. Carter McCauley nails the 29-yard field goal as time expires, and the Warriors top the Mavericks 34-31. When we come back, highlights from the rest of the weekend in NSIC football, including Bemidji State hoping to bounce back from their first loss of the season as they visited U-Mary.
The Northern Sun Experience on Midcoast Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and Dakota Land Honda.
And welcome back to the Northern Sun Experience. And the experience last week for Bemidji State football was a roller coaster of emotions. The Beavers had a 17-point halftime lead on the road at Sioux Falls, gave it up, clawed back, but then fumbled away a possible game-winning 2-point conversion. It was the first loss of the season for Bemidji State, and they were hoping to bounce back in their North Division opener at the University of Mary. And safe to say, the Beavers hit the ground running and never stopped. Gina Adams busts through the line and goes 86 yards to pay dirt, longest run of the season for Bemidji State, and they lead at 6-0. Second quarter now, Beavers add to the lead. Jordan Hine on a rope to Vince Dinkel, 35-yard pitch and catch makes it 12-0. Less than 20 seconds to go before halftime, and Hine works his magic, keeping the play alive, throwing on the run, and he'll find Jawan Richard in the end zone, 32 yards, 18-zip Beavers at the break. It's 26-0 in the third when Hine decides to keep it himself, using his elusiveness to find the end zone, 32-0 at that point. And the Beavers would cap things off with another speedster, Michael Washington. He finds some room up the left sideline, 21 yards to pay dirt, one of his 3 rushing touchdowns on the afternoon. And Bemidji State tops U-Mary 52-3. MSU Moorhead traveled east to Minnesota Duluth in what ended up being a shootout. Drew Bauer finds Bo Bofferting to start things off, and it's 7-0 Bulldogs. 15-3 UMD when the Dragons fly back. Check out the run by Zach Sweet, 15 yards, cuts the lead to 15-10. But the second quarter featured plenty of fireworks, starting with Minnesota Duluth. Bauer goes deep for Jason Balt's one-handed catch with his left hand, unbelievable, 22-10 UMD. A few minutes later, Bulldogs get another explosive play, only this time on the ground. Jaylene Jones finds his way through the line and never looks back. 85 yards to the house. Minnesota Duluth's up 29-10. It's 35-10 when the Dragons mount a mini comeback. First, it's Jake Hodge to Corey Ambrose, 43 yards. That cuts it to 35-17. Then, after forcing a Bulldog punt, the Dragons rush the house and everything bounces the right way, including the ball to Damon Gibson, 35-24. Field goal at the end of the half cut the Bulldog advantage to 35-27, but that's as close as the Dragons would get. Off play action, Bauer goes up top to DJA Bear on the ones and twos, 41-yard touchdown, and Minnesota Duluth survives against MSU Moorhead 42-34. Minot State was at Northern State on Saturday. First play from scrimmage, Nick Truen finds a hole and busts right through it. 75 yards to the house, and just like that, it's 7-0 Wolves. 14-7 in the second when the QB gets in on the running action. Christian McIlvain from 12 yards out on the read option, 21-7 Northern State. Later in the second, Wolves find some success in the passing game. McIlvain to Taylor Hoochin, and he does the rest, 47 yards, 28-7 Wolves. And the defense would put this one away. Cody Bragger with the interception, and he goes 27 yards the other way for the pick six. The Wolves top the Beavers 41-28. St. Cloud State made the trek north to Minnesota Crookston. Jaden Huff gets the Huskies on the board first with his 4-yard touchdown. 7-0 St. Cloud State. Second quarter now, Huskies with another quick strike. Nate Meyer to Anthony Carver, 10-yard touchdown, and it's 14-0. Meyer would continue to connect with his favorite target, Jamison Parsons. Backed up on their own two, the Huskies get out of it on this long catch and run. 71 yards from Parsons. He had 125 and a touchdown on the day. And St. Cloud State tops Minnesota Crookston 28-7. Wayne State visited Concordia St. Paul on Saturday, and the Wildcats strike early. Zach Osborne to Shamir Williams, 22 yards, 7-0 Wayne State. It's 7-3 in the second when the Wildcats extend their lead. Osborne to Justin Saunders, 4-yard touchdown, makes it 14-3. It's 17-3 in the third quarter when the Wildcat defense shows its claws. Glenn Harris picks off Maxon Hutton, goes 30 yards the other way. The pick six makes it 24-3 Wayne State, and the Wildcats would put it away later in the third. Osborne once again to Williams, wide open on the catch, finding even more space on the run. 78 yards to the house, 31-3 at that point. Wayne State with a big road win, 45-10 at Concordia St. Paul. Last game on Saturday was the highest scoring, Upper Iowa at Southwest Minnesota State, and the Mustang Magic was out in full force once again. Tied at 7, the backwards pass from Blake Gimble to Max Simmons, who fires downfield for Nate Hewitt. 46 yards on the halfback option, 14-7 SMSU. Later in the first, a more traditional combination of quarterback to receiver. Gimble to Hewitt, 36 yards that time, 21-7 Mustangs. Peacocks would try and keep up in the shootout. Dimitri Morales to Skylar Lehman, 27 yards, cutting the deficit to 21-14. It's 24-14 in the second when Upper Iowa uses the ground game. Derek Portis finds plenty of space in front of him, 32 yards, 24-20 at the break. Mustangs expand the lead in the third. Gimble finds Gabe Galume, triple G connection, makes it 31-20 SMSU. Gimble's known for his big arm, but he doesn't need a lot on this pass to Davian Shelton because Shelton does the heavy lifting. 39-yard touchdown on the screen pass. That makes it 45-27, and it would be a Mustang rookie who would finish things off. Isley Carrington, his first career game, and it goes swimmingly. 64-yard touchdown run. He would have a 55-yard touchdown run later. SMSU over Upper Iowa by the modest score of 59-41. So with 1 week down in interdivisional play, we'll see which teams can either gain some momentum or turn things around in week 2. Both North Dakota teams will look to get back on track at 1 o'clock. With Minot State hosting Minnesota Duluth and the University of Mary visiting St. Cloud State. Also at 1, Augustana will look to bounce back on the road at Wayne State, and a big matchup between two of the NSIC North's co-champions last season, Northern State at Bemidji State. At 2 p.m., Concordia St. Paul visits Minnesota State, and Winona State heads south to take on Upper Iowa. Finally at 6, Minnesota Crookston is at MSU Moorhead, and the game of the week between two teams with one combined loss, Southwest Minnesota State at Sioux Falls. When we come back, the top 2 volleyball teams in the entire country squared off in St. Paul on Friday. Find out who emerged victorious, plus the latest national poll, next. Welcome back to the Northern Sun Experience. Concordia St. Paul has always been one of the best volleyball teams in the country, but the Golden Bears' start this year was unprecedented. Not only did CSP win its first 13 matches, they only lost 2 sets in that entire stretch. Meanwhile, Minnesota Duluth won its first 13 matches, only losing 4 sets in that stretch. The number 1 ranked Golden Bears hosted the number 2 ranked Bulldogs on Friday, and this was a classic match. Tied at 23 in the first set, Emily Torve sets up Sarah Kelly for the Bulldog kill. UMD takes set 1, 25-23. Second set, see if this sounds familiar. Emily Torve to Sarah Kelly, another monster kill. UMD wins that set 25-22 for a 2-0 lead. But the Golden Bears would not go away quietly. Anna Schlake puts it in the back of the zone for the kill. CSP takes set 3. On to set 4, Concordia St. Paul with some consistent defense as Emma Lang and Sarah Masix team up on the block. Golden Bears win set 4 to knot the match at 2 sets apiece. Fifth set, Concordia trying to stay alive. Lang with the cross-court kill off the right side, but the Bulldogs would stay resilient and prevail. Torve to Mackenzie Morgan, and that will do it. Minnesota Duluth wins the Battle of the Unbeatens and tops Concordia St. Paul 3-2. UMD would hope to continue its winning streak Saturday at Minnesota State. Bulldogs' intensity didn't drop off after that big Concordia win. Taylor Wisbrocker with the cross-court kill. Minnesota State would actually win 2 of the first 3 sets, but Minnesota Duluth would once again rise to the challenge. Sarah Kelly and Mackenzie Morgan, the heroes from the Concordia game, get back-to-back kills against the Mavs. UMD wins its second straight by the score of 3-2, and the Bulldogs have started the season 15-0. Another nationally ranked matchup on Friday, pit Northern State against Southwest Minnesota State. The Wolves' Lauren McCafferty gets the early kill for NSU, but the Mustangs would be in control for most of the evening. The setup for Sarah Parker, her shot too hot to handle, and then it's Taylor Reese on the other side of the court. SMSU tops Northern State 3-0. Other Friday action included Augustana hosting UMary. Long volley ends with Ashley Wilson's soft tap over the net. She had 7 kills on the night. Later in the set, a little more power from the Vikings as Bailey Cook slams it home for the easy point. Augie would fluster UMary all night long. Danny Magzis finds a soft spot in the defense as the Vikings top the Marauders 3-0. Wayne State hosted Minot State Friday, and sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Bree Ackerman gets the service ace on the bounce off the net. She had a team-high 6 aces on the night. Later in the set, Wildcats find the weak spot in the Beavers' defense. Alyssa Fraundorfer gets it over for the point. Then it's Mariah Halverson. Her cross-court kill ricochets off the Minot defenders. Wayne State takes care of business, topping Minot State in 3 straight. So what's the latest turn in the national volleyball poll? Well, by virtue of Minnesota Duluth's win over Concordia St. Paul, the Bulldogs have surpassed the Golden Bears as the top team in the nation. UMD is number 1 with 44 first-place votes, while CSP is number 2 with 2 first-place votes. Southwest Minnesota State stays at 4, but Augustana continues to climb as the Vikings are now at number 6. Winona State is 7, Wayne State is 8, and Northern State is 14. So 7 NSIC teams in the top 14, including 6 in the top 8. At this point, nothing more really needs to be said about the competition. Just time to enjoy it for the rest of the season. When we come back, the season-long celebration of the NSIC's 25th anniversary continues as we showcase a former UMary wrestler dedicated to helping others. Welcome back. As the NSIC celebrates its 25th anniversary, the conference will be naming new members to its top 25 list of male and female student athletes. And this week, the fairway is cleared for the first golfer. Congrats are in order for former Winona State golfer Brady Strength-Stalion. An all-conference golfer in each of his 4 seasons with the Warriors, Brady was an individual medalist in 2006 and 2007, along with being named to the 2008-2009 King All-Central Region team. He finished his career as the 2009 and 2010 NSIC Golfer of the Year. Congrats once again to Brady Strength-Stalion, latest member on the NSIC's top 25 male athletes of all time. All 16 NSIC schools will also be showcasing distinguished alumni in their Under the Northern Sun campus spotlights this season. Tonight is the University of Mary and the story of a former wrestler who grappled with plenty of decisions away from the mat to find his true calling.
Good to see you up and about.
Yeah. Ever since graduating from the University of Mary, this has been the scene for Trevor Johnson. former wrestler and now a nurse in the ER at Sanford Health in Bismarck. But let's go back to before scrubs became his work uniform.
When I was 4 years old, my dad wrestled for Napoleon and then BJC back in the day, and then UMary for 2 years as well. So he started my brother and I out when we were 4 and 5 years old.
What started as just a young kid in the mat pack continued throughout high school at Bismarck, the most tradition-rich program in the state, a program the Johnson family played a part of building.
It was kind of cool for my brother and I because our head coach at Bismarck High was my dad's head coach at BJC when he was in college, Jeff Schumacher.
After having to transfer to Century in 7th grade where his brother Tyler was a state place winner, the brothers went back to BHS to continue the tradition.
And we transferred to Bismarck High just because that was where my uncle went to high school, and we've been wrestling in mat pack for a long time in the Bismarck High room, and it was a place where we knew we wanted to go wrestle for Jeff and Scott Nolan. There's no way I would have wrestled in college if I wasn't at Bismarck High. So.
Trevor was a 2-time state champion and he placed every year, but after high school came college.
I was recruited very lightly to wrestle in college. My brother was at NDSU, and their assistant coach did pretty much all the recruiting there at that time, and he came and sat down with me in my house before football practice, twice actually. So I decided to go to NDSU when I was a true freshman.
After a redshirt season, Trevor realized that wrestling at a Division I level wasn't for him, and that's when he transferred to the University of Mary.
I think why UMary, because initially because it was home, and I needed some financial support. I wasn't going to be able to do stuff on my own at that point, and I didn't really have a religious background either, so that kind of flourished. I thought about not even wrestling when I came back, just because I was so burnt out from NDSU, and I came back and talked to Coach Brogan and asked if there was any scholarship opportunities, if they had any money left for scholarships, and he said they had some, and I said, well, I suppose I might as well. It's a way to help me out with tuition. And
once Trevor started competing for the Marauders, his success was instant. Johnson was a Division II All-American, but it's not easy taking part in this sport and studying in the nursing program.
Well, my mom's been a nurse for over 20 years, almost 20 years, and this is when you get into a program, you say, when you're in the first part of any kind of program for a bachelor degree, they ask you why'd you choose nursing? And at first, I was honest with the teachers. I said it because it's a lot of job security. It's easy to get a job outside of college, and who doesn't? There's not a lot of people that don't have college loans after 4 years.
What started out as job security turned into a passion worth working for.
It's not a very easy program to be in when you're in athletics either, because it's very extensive, and there's a lot of clinicals, a lot of coursework, and you're busy all week long every week. So it got pretty tough at times, but I was also lucky to have a coach that kind of gave me some leeway, because if I had to choose wrestling or nursing at that point, I would have chosen nursing. You can't wrestle forever.
Since graduating from the University of Mary, Trevor works full-time at Sanford in the ER and misses wrestling more than ever.
Every day. That's also kind of a loaded question, because I still volunteer coach at UMary, and when I was a senior, after I graduated, we had a new coach my senior year, and he asked if I wanted to coach. I said I would love to, but I obviously got a job here and I wanted to get a lot of experience, so I just told him I would volunteer and get out there as much as I can.
Johnson continues to help with as much as he can, whether it's in the emergency room or on the wrestling mat.
When we come back, it's DB's Picks, my top 5 plays of the past week in the NSIC.
The Northern Sun Experience on Midcoast Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back. It's time for DB's Picks, my top 5 plays of the past week, and we'll hit the ground running at number 5 and keep on going. First, it's Northern State's Nick Truin taking the first play from scrimmage, finding a hole and going 75 yards to the house. Truin is a wolf on the prowl at number 5. For number 4, the Bulldog trumps the Wolf. Minnesota Duluth's Jaylene Jones busts through the line and goes 85 yards for his own long touchdown. It was one of several explosive plays as UMD got its 4th win of the year with the 4th best play of the past week. While the 4th best play went 85 yards, the 3rd best play was literally one better at 86. The run by Bemidji State's Gina Adams looked pretty similar to the first 2 plays in our countdown, but his blockers do such a good job creating a running lane that it seems like the other players just disappear. The Beavers get back on track thanks to the track meet at number 3. For number 2, we go to Winona, where the Warriors' wizardry continues. Off the reverse flea flicker, Jack Nelson finds Will Clausen for the 47-yard touchdown. And this number 2 play helped make the difference in a 3-point win. But our number 1 play goes back to Duluth, where Jason Baltz is balling out. The Bulldog receiver makes the ridiculous one-handed touchdown against MSU Moorhead. Great adjustment, another close win for the Bulldogs. And Jason Balt's catch is the number 1 play of the past week. Tune in next week for an all-new Northern Sun experience.